Everyone, Mike from MLive.com, joined by Justin Rogers, who is eating a banana. It's 12:34 in the morning. I'm not sure what day it is. He's eating a muffin. I've got a coffee. It's got to be the NFL draft, day 2 or something of the draft. There's like 25 more picks to go for the Lions, Justin.
Trade them, Bob. Consolidate.
Lions did make, in reality, 2 picks today. One in the second round, choosing defensive tackle.
Shawn Robinson.
Shawn Robinson, thank you. Long day.
Yeah.
Round 3 took Michigan's Graham Glasgow as center. That's 3 linemen in the first 3 rounds, Justin. It's not very hard to see what the blueprint was for the Lions going into this draft. But what's your reaction to what occurred here on day 2?
I don't know how many of these videos you've watched, podcasts you've listened to, stories you've read. There's a word I've really liked to say over and over when talking about how to approach this draft. Trenches. Bob Quinn, A+. I mean, who knows how these guys will turn out, but in terms of strategy, right tackle, defensive tackle, center, which we've talked about needing to be an upgrade or at least upgrade in competition, all addressed. There's still spots not addressed, but I love it. Trenches in the first, second, and third round. It's a strategy, I think, that wins football games long-term in this league.
It's a strategy that wins football games in this league. It's also a strategy the Lions have toyed with in the past. They've actually taken, if you think about it, quite a few early round offensive linemen in the past. They got Riley Reef, a first rounder, Laken Tomlinson, a first rounder, Larry Warford, a third rounder. That's all just within since 2012.
Huge
Travis Swanson, a third rounder. Now the Lions take another center this year, second time in 3 years they've taken a third round center. So they've tried before. They've done the same thing on the defensive line, taking some early guys. Traded for Gabe Wright last year. I mean, they've tried to make what Bob Quinn is doing now. The difference was that what Mayhew didn't work. I mean, to varying levels. I mean, Reef's been okay, but just that some have been whiffs, such as Travis Swanson. And so that's where you come with Bob Quinn. He's got to trust his board, trust his guys, make the proper evaluations. But I'm with you. I like the strategy. They came in. They said we have to get better in the trenches, or we're not going to win football games. And they think they've done it. Bob Quinn came out and said we had a great second day. Time will tell whether it was great or not, but I certainly like the approach.
Just once I want to see a GM come out and be like, nah.
We really misfired on this one, guys.
Didn't really like the guys. But, no, I mean, I think something you notice is not only do they grab 2 offensive linemen, they grab 2 guys that I think the first word people would use to describe them is nasty. You know, guys that are really big, powerful, run block finishers. I kind of asked Quinn, if maybe I was trying to lead him, I don't know, but I wanted him to say that they were investing in the run game because that's what it appears to me. They're serious about improving the run game. Brought on Stephen Ridley, who's a power runner that should rebound this year. Amir Abdullah is obviously a big home run threat when he can get a crease. If Glasgow ends up winning the starting job, and we're getting way ahead of ourselves there, and Decker ends up being starter, whether it's right or left side, run blocking should be vastly improved, and that is big need.
They got Tomlinson in the first round last year too. That's a lot of high price rate for. I agree with you, but that's a lot of investments that you've made there in the running game. We were talking earlier today just about the Lions and the draft and whatever, and I said, look what they've done. That there's no excuse anymore for this team to not be able to rush the football, given they used 3 draft picks in the first 5 rounds last year on the running game with the fullback Michael Burton plus Tomlinson plus Abdullah in the second round. And now you come out this year and you draft Taylor Decker, who most offensive tackles, it's because of their pass blocking. That's why they're so great. This guy's a run blocker, at least at this point in his career. That's what he does best. You come out and get him in the first round, Glasgow in the third. There is no excuse anymore for them to not run the football. They have to be able to do it. And if they don't this year, that's an epic failure, I think, on the part of the scheme, but also to Quinn in his draft approach.
Yeah, on the other side of the ball, Robinson, is one of those guys that you saw all through the draft process. I mean, people were projecting him up to the final day. I think Peter King and several others in that mock draft roundup were projecting him to the Lions in the first round. It's a good value at the second round. I think there's a reason he did drop. I think people probably overinflated that value. Good run defender right out the gate. He's a pass rush projection. Didn't do it a whole lot at Alabama. There's reason to believe with his athleticism and Chris Kasurik's coaching that he can do it. But defensive end was probably the bigger need now, immediately, tomorrow. But defensive tackle was pressing going into 2017 and beyond. So it was definitely a place they needed to address.
Yeah, you talked earlier about just getting nasty guys, and Shawn Robinson is a nasty, nasty man. I mean, if you've seen him, he's I mean, he's 21, but he looks like he's going on 40. And now I'm not just talking about the bald head and the beard, which certainly enhances it, but he's also a 6'4", 307-pound piece of muscle. I mean, he's an intimidating dude. And I talked to him at the combine. I remember him telling this story about like when he first got to Alabama. Nick Saban had to tell him repeatedly, you can't hit the quarterback in practice. You can't hit the quarterback in practice. And sure enough, he puts A.J. McCarron on his can in practice. And Saban has to come over and yell at him and say, you can't hit the guy in the red shirt or white shirt or whatever they wear at Alabama, I guess, for the quarterback. But that illustrates the mean streak this guy has. I mean, he has
probably
really.
Hope he corrects that at the professional level. You don't need Stafford
right,
Matthew
Stafford, heads up, Matt. No, but he's got really heavy hands. That's something that people have told me about his game. That's part of why he's so effective is these heavy hands. And I had asked him like what goes into those heavy hands, and he's like, my coach just told me just pretend like you're choking somebody. So I just pretend like I'm choking somebody. And the quote, it's just
the motivation these guys get from coaches. I mean,
yeah, but it's
defensive line especially.
He's not just a talented player; he's a mean player. He's a nasty player in the trenches. Decker's the same way. Glasgow I know a little less about, but people I know at Michigan have said that he has a mean streak as well. There in the trenches. You can see the type of profile this guy that Quinn's going after. Big people that can play in the trenches, swap some pain, be mean, and I like the approach.
Yeah, first 2 picks were national champions, first-team All-Americans. Glasgow obviously took a very different approach. He played for Harbaugh, which is interesting. A lot of great coaches these guys have played for, in Saban, Harbaugh, Urban Meyer, but walk-on, right, Glasgow?
Yeah, he started as a walk-on in 2011, eventually became a starter as a redshirt sophomore.
Yeah, he brings versatility. All those guys bring versatility. Robinson could play multiple techniques on the defensive line. Glasgow, guard, center.
Yeah,
Decker,
I think he'll play center.
I do too,
I
for sure.
I mean, Quinn said the right things in that he'll compete wherever, and we'll see where the chips go. But they have 2 early-round picks in Warford and Tomlinson as starters at guard. They've got Jeff Schwartz as a very capable veteran backup for those guys. There's no real reason to draft Graham Glasgow, who played center at Michigan, if you don't envision him as competing for and playing at center, especially when he took a center 2 drafts ago.
4th through 7th round, anything? I got nothing.
Well,
draft some players.
Quinn, as Quinn said, maybe some skill position players.
Maybe.
We'll see what happens. But I mean, they still need a defensive end. They still need defensive end, I think, if you look at the trenches. But outside of that, yeah, slot receiver, possibly a linebacker. I don't think a running back. Quarterback, I still think. I know Quinn downplayed a little bit today when asked about Connor Cook, but I still expect them to take a quarterback at some point.
Yeah, I'm going to throw a random name in. This guy might have been drafted. I don't know. I didn't look at the end of the 3rd round. But Blair, Appalachian State, defensive end.
I think he's still.
Yeah, I think 4th round, pick 111. That's an interesting pick. I like a lot. But, I mean, who knows? They can go so many different. You try projecting a 1st round, it's impossible. Once you get to the 4th through 7th, forget about it.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, too. Quinn was talking about how, the first 3 rounds, teams' boards will be different, but they're kind of similar. Everyone kind of feels kind of the same way about different guys. But you get to the 4th through 7th rounds, it's kind of like the Wild Wild West. Everyone's kind of got their own guys, their pet favorites, guys that maybe Phil needs or wow them in an interview or something. And so it can go a lot of different ways. Lions will be very active on Saturday. They've got 8 more picks.
I think
7 more picks.
Yeah. I think one thing that we could say almost with certainty after standing pat at 16 and 46 with 7 picks in day 3, I expect some trades.
Yes.
I mean, they're going to move around. They're going to identify the guys they want to get, and I expect them to move up and move up more than move down. Use those picks as leverage to get where they need to get players they like.
That's what we got for today, guys. Busy day on Saturday, so keep it right here. We're not going to sleep. For Justin Roger and his muffin, I'm Kyle Meinke. We're on live. Keep it right here.